Order. Question number 12. Denis ORourke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This question is for the Minister of Internal Affairs. Does he agree with Nigel Hampton QC, who acted for several of the victims of the collapse of the CTV building, who said, quote, "One is forced to the conclusion that in New Zealand the ability to determine responsibility and accountability in any search and rescue response is directly related to the political will and motivation at cabinet and government level," unquote. If not, why not?
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Peter Dunne.
Mr. Speaker, while I have great sympathy for the families who lost loved ones in the CTV building collapse, I do not agree with Mr. Hampton's comment for the simple reason that that particular earthquake was an event that would have stretched any emergency service in the world on that day. The coroner's report that was released in March was a full account of the challenges and the complexities that were faced during the rescue from the CTV building, and it noted that none of the actions taken by fire service personnel would have in any way contributed to the death of any of the people who lost their lives there. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, the fire service has carried out 2 reviews of search and rescue operations on the day, including 1 independent review. It has made a number of changes as a result of those reviews which address the issues raised, and I've also just recently announced a wider review of the fire service in terms of its ongoing role in emergency management services.
Supplementary question, Denis ORourke.
In addition to what the Minister has just said, what else has the government done to ensure that in future urban disaster rescue operations, the loss of life caused by command and communication ineptitude at the CTV building will never be repeated?
Speaker.
Honourable Peter Dunne.
Mr. Speaker, I am not the Minister for Earthquake Recovery, so I can speak only with regard to those matters that come within my portfolio. And what I can say is that there has been full input into the Coordinated Incident Management Systems review that was carried out by the Ministry of Civil Defence and Emergency Management. I've already indicated that all of the changes recommended by the coroner in his report are in the process of being implemented by the New Zealand Fire Service. And I think it's fair to say that one of the big learnings out of that horrific event was that there is a need for much greater on-the-ground coordination and communication during an incident, and that lesson has been learned a very sad and hard way.
Supplementary question, Denis ORourke.
Is the Minister satisfied that the government has done enough to ensure that responsibility and accountability for the inept rescue response immediately following the collapse of the CTV building has been precisely identified and published? And if so, why?
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Peter Dunne.
Absolutely. I've indicated in my answers already the steps that have been taken in response to the coroner's review. And can I say to the member, had he had the privilege that I did a few months ago of attending the awards ceremony in Christchurch, where those firefighters who fought so gallantly on that day to carry out those rescues at a time when they didn't know the status of their own families in the earthquake, and when they didn't know the status of their own properties or jobs, he would have the hugest respect for that response.
I apologise to the Minister. Order. Order. This is a point of order. It will be heard in silence.
Although I'm interested in what the Minister has to say, he was actually asked...
Order.
He was
the member
actually
will
asked.
resume his seat immediately. I heard the question. I heard the answer. The Minister was answering a question with a lot of compassion, and the member should do the House a service by allowing the Minister to complete his answer. On point of order, Denis ORourke.
Mr. Speaker, you did not hear my point of order, and that was not the subject.
The member
that was not the subject of
the
it.
member will resume his seat. Now, if he wants to raise a new point of order, a fresh point of order, I will hear it. If it's an irrelevant point of order or contest my ruling, I will ask the member to immediately leave the chamber.
Point of order.
Point of order, Denis ORourke.
The fresh point of order is this. The Minister has been talking about the firefighters who attended the CTV building collapse. The question was, as you will see, about government being satisfied concerning responsibility and accountability for the whole operation, not individual firefighters.
I've heard enough. the member needs to look at his original question, which was about the responsibility and accounting of the search and rescue response. Subsequent questions have then asked of the minister something that is not his responsibility, and the minister has told the member that. That is the end of the matter. Further supplementaries?
Yes,
supplementary question, Denis ORourke.
Is the minister satisfied that those who are responsible have been appropriately held to account? And if so, why? And if not, what will he do about it?
Insofar as Minister responsible, the Honourable Peter Dunne.
Mr. Speaker, with regard to the search and rescue services, particularly those provided by the fire service, I am satisfied that every lesson to be learned from that event has been learned, and that the recommendations from the coroner will be implemented, and that in the unlikely and unfortunate repetition of such an event, we will deliver a high-quality service.
That concludes questions for oral answer. I have received a letter from the Right Honourable Winston Peters seeking to debate